Yo, what's up? This is Jacoby from Papa Roach.
This is Ryan Leaf.
This is Rich Roll, and you're listening to Sober Guy Radio.
Yo, what's up? Thank you for tuning in today. How's everybody doing? Good to be back on the microphone. Much love, much thanks to everyone for the support while I took a little break for the summertime. Your support really does mean a lot to me. I had a lot of people reaching out, so just definitely want to acknowledge that. And can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I especially want to thank my wife, the Jess, my mom, Darcy, my friend and my sponsor, Buddy, my church, and my church pastors at the Father's House, Bill from Celebrate Recovery. And of course, I want to thank God for leading me through each day and getting me where I'm at today, which is a lot further than where I was 4 years ago. But at the same time, it's a daily work for sure. I would encourage those of you out there listening to, get that gratitude list going. Who do you need to thank today? Who do you need to acknowledge in your life? You know, your higher power, God, your family, your friends. Putting that into perspective, I know for me, each morning really starts to start my day off on the right foot, I guess. So, man, it's good to be back. It's crazy. I know I kind of bailed out and kind of went on this hiatus very suddenly. But if you do remember back, I did take a break last summer also. And I think the summertime is a good time to take a break, and we all need to take a break at some point and rest and kind of refocus, I guess. And I know for me, it was more about getting filled back up and trying to figure out some things in my life and prioritize some things. Things were getting crazy there for a minute, and I was getting way ahead of myself. I wasn't working on my own program. I wasn't dialed in like I should have been, or staying on track like I was supposed to. I was getting away from doing just some of the common things because I had so many different components in my life going on. And to be honest, I thought that I was fine. That's that old saying, I'm fine. I got this. I'm kind of going through the motions. When in all reality, I really wasn't. And I was really in a place where I was a bit confused and not really sure where or what path I was on, I guess. And I still don't really understand everything, of course. Each day is a new day, but definitely feeling a lot better now after taking some time off, spending some time with my family, really working with my sponsor, starting to go to some meetings again, trying to stay dialed in building my relationship with God, and trying to really surround myself with people, friends, family, just a positive group in a sense. It goes so much further than just not, drinking, not doing drugs. And I don't want to undermine anyone out there right now who might be in the early stages of where that is all it means for you today, is just not drinking today. So that, that's enough in itself. So I get it if you're in that point. That's a tough thing, and that might be your only thing that you need to focus on at this moment. For me, in, a few years into this thing, and maybe for someone out there who's a few years into this thing too, it might not be just so much not focusing on not drinking today, which obviously for all of us, that is, that should be something we are conscious of and thinking about. But at the same time, there's so many other parts, so many other moving parts to that whole situation of just not picking up a bottle that day, or not, using some sort of substance to kind of alter our minds. It's living life. It's living life on life's terms and not on Shane's terms. So those are the things that I noticed about myself when I'm not dialed into a program and I'm not, working that on the daily and really staying conscious of it. I can get away from just the simple things. And I think after a while, you add work in there, you add your family in there, you add yourself in there, You add trying to better yourself in there, trying to do things for others, trying to just be a good person. And for me, it just felt like everything I was doing was just like there was a lot of weight, I guess, there. And and it was like on life's terms. It wasn't on God's terms. It wasn't on, um, I was trying to bear the weight of everything, I guess. And you can probably hear the little bit of confusion even in the way that I'm trying to talk about this or present it right now. Number one, because I don't write this stuff out. That's part of it, which that's what I love about the show. And I hope you love that too. I might take some notes, but I don't sit here and script everything out and read off anything. I just I want to just roll off the cuss because I think that's when we get genuine. That's when we get real. But I guess to sum it all up if I was to tie it up and put it in a little package over the last few months, there's been some gnarly things that have happened. Definitely some challenges, and there's also been some amazing things that have happened in that time. And I want to be able to enjoy the amazing things. And I also want to be able to cope and deal with the challenges in a healthy manner. And I guess what I'm getting at here, like I said, to tie this thing up, is if I'm doing a podcast and I'm doing my day job, which is podcasting, but it's on a corporate level. So it's quite a bit different than this show. But I'm also trying to be a dad. Sorry, I just hit the mic there. Trying to be a dad, trying to be a husband, trying to be Shane, trying to, do all of these different things in life, trying to do life, right? Trying to be a good dude, but I'm not putting God and I'm not putting my work on myself and my recovery program and just surrounding myself with that community. Things can get messy quick. And it's funny because you would think, or I guess I would think, I celebrated 4 years of being clean and sober, by the way, on the 11th of September. So just a couple of weeks ago. And that was a cool little moment for me. I've been back, thankfully, and thanks for the encouragement by my sponsor, Buddy, to kind of get my ass moving in the right direction and start getting back to some meetings and stuff on Monday nights, going to celebrate recovery at the Father's house. And, I just so happened to be chip night, the night that was my 4 years. So it was really cool for me. I haven't got a chip since I think I had my 1 year, I think. So that was a cool little accomplishment. And I do remember one of the things that was on my mind in group that night when we kind of broke off was celebrating the wins. Like it's okay to celebrate the wins. For me, for a long time, it was very easy for me just to focus on the negative things in life and the things that weren't going my way and the things that were challenging me, the things that were pissing me off, like all of those things. Those are real simple. And then when good things would happen, those would kind of get canceled out or not really praised enough, I guess, because it was so easy for me to focus on, well, I did do this really good, but I could have done this better, right? I think that's kind of a normal human thing. At least I know it is for me. But in this occasion, on getting this, 4-year chip and being able to come this way and not touch any drink or anything for 4 years and really kind of rebuild my life as a man, as a personal life in my marriage, my duties as a father, my work ethic, all those different things. It was really cool to appreciate that satisfaction of being able to get that 4-year chip and say, man, good job. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like celebrating it for a moment. And that's one of the things that I had mentioned, in group that night. And the reason I talk about this is because I want to encourage you. What have you don't focus on the things that aren't going your way right now. What is something that you've done, today or this week or this month or maybe even this year? If you got to look back that far, if you're really going through it, there's things that you have done that are good. There's accomplishments that you've made. There's things you're working towards that maybe you're almost there. What are those things? And think about it for a minute and celebrate that. Like give yourself, can you give yourself a hug? I don't know. What do? You slap your own ass? You give yourself a hug? You shake your own hand. I mean, whatever it is you got to do, pat yourself on the back, the old saying. Give yourself a smile in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey man, I did that today. Like for me, it was looking myself in the mirror and saying, man, you've came a long way in 4 years and you still got a long way to go. But man, let's celebrate today. Let's have a good laugh. Let's really embrace this moment and enjoy it. And, that for me was just that alone is such a huge step of progress in the right direction and just moving forward in my life. And so I hope that, I really hope that might encourage someone out there listening to this today, to give yourself some grace. That was one of the things on the Celebrate Recovery chip, which I lost already, by the way. What a bummer, man. I got the 4-year chip. It was a nice little, coin. And I think I lost it the next day. I put it in my damn sweat pockets when we went out to dinner and we were looking at the house. And I don't know where the heck I lost it. But in any case, I'm sure I'll pick up another one. It said God, it's something about God's grace on there. And that was something that spoke to me too, is like, I gotta learn to give myself more grace about things, and take, be a little bit easier on myself. So I'd encourage you to do the same thing. We're not perfect. We're human. We're jacked up. No doubt about that. I wouldn't be sitting on this mic today if I wasn't jacked up. And that's a good tool to embrace that and say, you know what, God's made me imperfect, and he expects me to fail sometimes. And the important thing is that I get back up and I keep going. That's what's really important, because when we give up, I mean, what's the point anymore? So good stuff there. Super, super stoked on the 4-year. I appreciate everybody's support. I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't do it without God in my life. I couldn't do it without my family, with my friends, my sponsor, my church. I mean, everything that I kind of said in the intro here that I wanted to thank. So, I'm super, super stoked on that. One of the things, I got a lot of great emails and messages while I was, taking a break. I feel like I'm saying a lot this time, and it probably is the case because I haven't done a podcast in a couple of months, and I'm going to just dive back in and go for it. Look at me. I'm just repeating myself. I kind of drew a blank there for a minute. The messages, the large love and support was like huge over this time. And I got a call from Cormac all the way from Ireland. That was rad. So Cormac, if you're out there listening to this, man, love you, bro. Super, super fresh. Enjoyed that call. We chatted a little bit. I told him, yeah, I'm just kind of taking a break, trying to get back in the swing of things. So that was cool. Julie, another friend of the show, been listening for a while, reached out a couple times, and we kind of chatted back and forth. And I appreciate your support, Julie, and staying up to date and just checking in. It's good, man. It's good to have this support base of friends out there, like in our own communities. Like I have my own friends in my community that are involved in my life, and then this additional network of friends all over the place. And technology and social media has allowed us to be able to do that for everybody. So no matter where you're at out there, if you're jumping in, little small groups like the Sober Guy, Sober Girl group, Share Podcast has a group, Recovery Elevator has a group. I mean, those are two that come up right off the top of my head because they're homies of the show, and we kind of have been in this together since the start. But there's a ton of other ones out there too that you can find good people in that are in recovery and they're doing that. So I would encourage you, get out in your community. Also, get out in your church and get out in the communities that are platforms through the internet, through social media, through those types of different things. Cause there's a ton of material out there. There's a ton of different ways that you can have, a support group right at home, and then a bunch of different branches of that tree all over the place, with podcasts, with books, with different people, with small groups, all that kind of stuff. It's so important to stay in tune, because like I said before, there's so much more to this than not not drinking or using. Yes, that's the main component that maybe drove a lot of us here, but it's really about learning how to deal with life. And that's something I'm continuing to learn about. For me right now, and like I said before, I don't want to lessen anybody who's really early on in their journey right now. If you're just a few days sober, I know that's tough and this might not apply to you, but I can only speak from experience and where I'm at right now. And I'm not saying I don't have urges sometimes to want to just drink because I'm going through some stress. I definitely do occasionally have those, but not drinking and doing drugs anymore is really, it's kind of the easy part for me at this point right now. And I say that with respect to the fact that I know that could change in an instant. And that's why I'm trying to stay on top of it and be very conscious of that. So I don't want to say that loosely, but my point is there's so many more aspects to this life journey, that I'm learning and that I'm trying to continue to learn. And also, man, one of the biggest things that Buddy and I talk about, I hope he doesn't mind that I mentioned this. I don't think he will, but he's constantly driving in the fact of being powerless, of really just giving it up, to God, to your higher power, and letting God work. I think I had a note up. I don't think it's up on my board. I don't know. It's not up on my board anymore. It was, but it just said, let God work. And what that meant to me was not trying to control everything, not trying to get all crazy and let my emotions get the best of me and get mad when something doesn't go my way. Just let God do it for me. And those types of things that happen, if you're willing to accept that, even when it's a real crappy situation and can be, it's really tough sometimes depending on the severity of what it is you're going through. In my experience, God has really shown me that he's got a plan, and whatever that plan is, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And to be honest with you, I'm not smart enough to do that. And the more I learn that I don't have to try to figure it all out. I don't have to say, well, why this? Well, why that? I don't have to do that because it just is. And that's the way it is. And the faster and the better I learn to accept that and then deal with it, with the tools that I've been given, the tools that I'm learning, the tools that I continue to learn in the community around me, those are the wins. Those are the moments that I can pat myself on the back, and really embrace, that moment of like, yeah, I can accept this and I can deal with it because I'm training, man. I'm in straight training every day. And God trains us. Our friends train us. Our family trains us. Our people we're around train us. The things that we're learning day in and day out is our training. That's life. I mean, that's the journey of this life. And if we're not enjoying that, if I'm constantly trying to get to the end, to that destination where I'm at, like, what is the fun? Like, I mean, where the getting there is, even though it sucks ass sometimes, there's some days that suck, right? But that's what builds a character in me. That's what's brought me to today, to being able to sit and talk about this stuff. And I don't, I don't know, man. It's just it's a trip sometimes. Sometimes I don't even know, how I've been lucky enough and blessed enough to get to this point. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm sure grateful for it. And I'm sure grateful for all the support from everybody around me. And that leads me to this real quick, because I feel like I got off track a little bit there. I wanted to read a message because I got a ton of emails and everybody, you know who you are, who sent emails out there and messages. I can't go down the list. There's too many of them, but I so appreciate it. I read every one of them. I try to respond to every single one that I can. And one of them came in just this last week. It was the one of the latest ones, and it was real quick and short. I just wanted to read it real quick because I thought it was cool, and I think it sums up kind of what everybody was kind of saying and asking at the same time. So I've noticed it's been a while since I've listened to a new podcast from Shane. I always enjoy the content. I'm in recovery and work in recovery out in West Virginia, and his show has been a part of my weekly recovery plan for the past several months. I've heard every podcast, and I'm just wondering when he was coming back with some more podcasts. So that comes from Jeff M. So Jeff, number one, thank you, man, for the little quick message. I got this I think this was last week. And this was kind of like the reason I'm reading this, because I do think it summed everything up, but it was kind of like that point, that last message I got where I went, you know what? Like, I feel like I'm kind of ready now. Like, I feel filled back up. There's some different things going on right now. Things have changed a little bit in my spirit, my mind. I feel like I'm on a different path where I kind of was feeling lost in a minute. And this message from Jeff kind of hit that home with me. Like, man, I'm ready to jump back in and try to start, putting some content out there of some things that I'm going on, and hopefully it helps somebody out there. Now, the other point to that is, I don't know where this whole platform's going, the Sober Guy platform. I have no idea. In the past, we've had some awesome partners. Foundations Recovery has been a great sponsor of the show, and we greatly appreciate them. We have a great relationship with all of them out there in Tennessee, and they're a great organization. I highly recommend them to anybody if you need help with anything, or you're looking to get some more info about recovery treatment centers. They have networks all over. But point to that, I don't know what's going to happen moving forward, because I don't know that I'm going to put a show out every single Friday. I was talking to a friend, and we we're kind of just saying, like, well, maybe it's just when I feel like something's really speaking to me, then I'll do a podcast. Maybe it's on a Monday, maybe it's on a Saturday, maybe it's on a Wednesday. I'm not really sure right now, but what I am sure of is that I enjoy doing this, and I think towards the end, it started to not be very much fun for me, because there started to be some business things involved with it, and some traveling, and different opportunities, which is cool to a point, but when you start getting wrapped up in that too much, it really takes away, at least for me, it started to take away from me the point of actually why I do this and why I enjoy to do this. Number one, because I love media. I love talking on a microphone. I love post-productions. Well, post-production stuff actually is not my favorite, because it's time consuming, but I do enjoy it. I do it for the art aspect of it, number one, because I've always been a creative person and enjoy to do that. But more importantly, I do it for my recovery, and I do it as service to help give back to anyone out there who might listen in. And one stupid thing I might say, that is goofy, and maybe it doesn't make any sense to somebody else, that might help someone out there listening. Maybe it is something halfway decent. I like to give myself enough credit where at least maybe sometimes I might have something to share that might help somebody. So that's really the point of doing this. And when I started to get away from that, it just wasn't really filling me up anymore. It was just, like I said, it was becoming more of a business. And we've had a ton of good guests on here. Go back and look through all the episodes, some of the guests that have been on here. I mean, just some phenomenal people that have so much to offer in the game of life and life experience and in recovery and their own stories, just amazing stories. And so it's been a real honor to be able to, start this platform a couple of years ago and have it evolve into that, this platform where people can come on and share their experience and have it help people out there. And that's what this is about. That's what Sober Guy's about. It's, and it took me a minute to kind of realize that, because it's easy to get lost in all of the surrounding shit that comes with, doing this sometimes, doing media stuff. It's inevitable. It happens, and so I'm just thankful that I get to learn as I go. And I'm thankful that I get to sit back and just say, damn, like, this is what I like to do. I do this because it helps keep me sober, and hopefully it helps to keep somebody else out there listening sober, or maybe help them along in their little journey. And maybe someone who came on the show or who comes on the show, in the future, it'll really speak to them. Now, that's another point that comes up. Am I going to continue on doing monologue episodes? Am I going to continue bringing guests on? I have a huge folder full of guest requests, and every guest who asks to come on the show is important to me. Everyone has their own story. I get that. Some of them, sometimes it's not a fit. Sometimes the timing is off. Sometimes it's somebody who just is trying to sell something. I mean, I guess my point is we get a ton of emails about that too. And I'm not really sure where we're going to go with that. So maybe with that said, as I'm kind of thinking this out right now, I would love to hear feedback from you guys out there. What do you want to hear? Do you want to have a good little mix of some guests in the future and then some monologue stuff? Do you just want to hear guests and want me to shut my pie hole up and just conduct interviews like I do on the corporate show? Or do you kind of like the mix? I mean, I guess if I had to answer this right now, in my opinion, and my opinion is my opinion, I want to hear your opinion too. So you can put it in the Sober Guy, Sober Girl group. You can send an email, sobriety@thatsoberguy.com, little feedback, or just say what's up too at that, man. That's cool. What do you guys want to hear moving forward with the Sober Guy platform? What do you want to see improve, get better, new, different? Because I don't know. And it's not my show. I feel like it's all of ours as a community's platform. So the more that we can be diverse in that, the better. I think the more people it's going to help, the more people it's going to speak to. I feel like I was going to say something else and I kind of got off point there and lost my train of thought. But in any case, hopefully it wasn't anything that was super important. And if it was, I'm sure that I'll remember later. Man, I got a burp there. Excuse my burp, man. At least I didn't do it right into the mic, right? Super, super punk rock style. Just a big, nice belch right in there. I didn't do that. I'm sure you'll appreciate it. I'm looking at a couple of the notes I took here. Oh man, this is crazy. Actually, I got to share this. So do you have dreams? I mean, it's kind of a dumb question. Everybody has dreams, right? If you're like me, you don't remember your dreams a lot of the time. I don't remember a lot of them. Jess can vouch for that. So when I do remember them, it's kind of a big deal. And I really do believe that dreams, I feel like God speaks to us through our dreams. That's just me. I've had things, I've had certain feelings and things happen through dreams. So I'm a big believer in that. And on top of that, like I said, I don't remember them all the time. So when I do, it's a big deal. Well, this dream that I had a few weeks back was crazy to me because it's just proof for me of how long this journey is, of, hey, I got sober, cool. All right, awesome. My life's going to be phenomenal now. And I'm all fixed and everything's perfect and stuff. I'm sober now. No, not how it works at all. And I kind of have an idea of that, but when you're going through certain things, man, it can be tough sometimes to, to kind of navigate through those. So this dream I had, I'm frantically, and it's real vivid, I'm looking down at my left leg in this dream, right? And there's this old, dead gray hair all over it, right? Like just nasty, dead, old gray hair. I look like a wolf or a bear or something, right? Just hairy ass, leg all over, and it's dead and it's old, and I'm frantically trying to cut it off of my leg, trying to cut this off as fast as I can. And as I'm doing that, I don't remember if I woke up or the dream stopped or whatever, but I never got to the right leg. And so I know that might seem kind of insignificant to someone. What the hell is this? What the hell you mean, Shane? Like, what are you talking about? Let me tell you how this equates to me is that I've had all these old things in my life that I'm trying to shed, to get rid of, to cut off that dead hair. I'm trying to cut those things away from my life. My drinking, my anger, my negative attitude, my self-worth, my insecurities, all these things, my past, things I've done, ways that I grew up, resentments I have, all these different things that I'm trying to just cut off. And to me, all of those things represented the gray hair on my leg in this dream. I'm frantically just trying to get rid of them. And yet there's still a lot of work to do, a ton of work to do on my right leg. And I haven't gotten there yet. And so I don't know if I'm quite done with the left leg yet even. I think I got the clippers out, at least. I think I'm in the stage where I got the clippers and maybe I'm starting to kind of shed down some of that left leg, right? I'm making progress at least, but I still got this whole leg full of this dead hair and shit that might even creep up onto my arms and Hey, maybe it's under my balls. I got some dead hair under my balls too, but that stuff's gotta be, it's gotta be, cut away eventually. And it just goes to show how much work I still have to do in this journey. I got a long way to go, and I'm just going to keep pressing on and keep digging in. And, that dream just spoke to me so much, about like, it's not about that destination. I'm not getting to the end of anything. I'm just still constantly working through stuff. And with that, I need to learn to enjoy the process. I need to learn to enjoy that process of these lessons and these challenges and these triumphs and the wins and celebrating the wins. Back to what I was saying, I can get through these challenges, but when I get a win, damn, I want to celebrate that. I'm going to really take a moment to acknowledge that, so part of that is just showing up. And actually, I wanted to title this Just Show Up. And I probably should have said that at the very beginning, of the episode today. But it's just about showing up. And I want to give you also, to go along with this dream, so actually real quick, before I get to the just show up part, what do you have to cut away in your life? What dead hair, to kind of equate it to that, what dead hair do you frantically, or have you been frantically trying to cut off in your life? And I also want to say with that, what haven't you even gotten to yet? Just when you think you might be done cutting away all that dead hair, you realize, man, I still got the whole other leg to do. And so, for me, I'm going to take my time in doing that, and I'm going to really enjoy the process. And in the meantime, I'm just going to show up, because that brings me back to that, as that loud ass car just drove off outside. But I'm going to show up. And I realized this in one of the first meetings that I had gotten back to at Celebrate Recovery on Monday night. So I went to the meeting, and it was a good meeting. And after the meeting, Bill, who's an awesome dude, man, I can't say enough about him. Actually, my old baseball coach, which is so crazy. So knew me as a kid, had his own struggles. He's got his own story. He's got a phenomenal story, actually. He's supposed to come on the show. I think, gosh, I invited him on months ago and we never ended up hooking up, but hopefully Bill will come on soon and share a bit about his story and how God's kind of brought him along in this journey, because he's got some insight and all kinds of good things to share. But I go to the group, and afterwards, Bill says, hey, we got to get these chairs up and we got to put them back at the desk, right? Real simple task, not a big deal. We sit in a group and we got to take the chairs and we got to put them back. Well, we needed to go get some more chairs from the other room next door, which the women's group was meeting in. So the meeting's over. We go to get the chairs, but the women are still in there. So we can't go in to get the group, right? We can't go into the group and interrupt it to get the chairs to bring them back in the other room. Like I said, very simple thing, so I'm kind of standing there for a minute. Our meeting's over. There's some little snacks and stuff. And I start getting that awkward Shane thing that I get. And Jess knows all about this. Like, if we're waiting around, sometimes, have you ever been in a moment where maybe you've seen a speaker, right? Someone who's given a presentation, and afterwards they'll wait around and they'll talk to you, right? And maybe there's some other people, or maybe, whatever it is, a presentation, you're going to wait around and you want to talk to that person. You want to mention, hey man, it was a great job you did. I really enjoyed this. Hey, this spoke to me. Where can I find more information out about your book, or whatever the heck it is, right? Well, sometimes you got a line of people in front of you. And for me, that is one of the worst things for me. I don't know what it is. I get all awkward and weird. I don't like waiting around. I feel stupid. I feel like I'm like the guy who's trying to hang around backstage and like wait for, cause I know somebody, or I don't know what it is. It's really weird. Jess doesn't understand it. I don't understand it. And I can get really uncomfortable and awkward. Okay. And so I started feeling like that afterwards as I was waiting around to get these chairs. And so what did I do? I left. I just said, you know what? I don't need to get the chairs. Someone else will grab them. Not a big deal. I already helped with the few, and I'm going to leave. So I left. I got in the car. I was feeling all right. Just finally had got to a meeting. was feeling good. And I got about halfway home and it hit me. And God kind of spoke to me and he said, you just need to show up. And so what does that mean to me? Let me explain to you what just show up means to me. And in this example, at least, and I think this is applicable to many other bigger things in our life, right? And I know it is in my life. So all that meant to me was, instead of leaving right there, what that spoke to me, instead of leaving and getting all uncomfortable because I made it all about me, I made it about how I was feeling and how I was feeling uncomfortable and how I'm pretty sure I'm done. Someone else will get the chairs when I left. I wasn't making myself available. I was not making myself available. I was in my own mind and I wasn't just showing up. So whether that meant to hang out a second and just sit down, even if I wasn't doing anything but sitting in there and, being quiet for a minute and just sitting and waiting. I didn't do that. I got up and I bounced out, and it really said something to me. And I learned something in the fact that I need to be there. I need to just wait. I need to wait on God sometimes. I need to wait and just sacrifice that time, because you never know when someone might come up and speak something into me that could change my life. I never know when somebody might come up to me, or I might run into somebody who really needs to hear some words of encouragement right there that I might be able to give to them in that moment that could change their life. And if I'm not there just showing up to sacrifice that, I'm talking maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes even. It's nothing crazy, but just the fact that I'm willing to be there, for those extra minutes afterwards, I'm not just bouncing out, because I start getting uncomfortable and feeling weird. That was huge for me. And so I think that when I take this and I apply it to other aspects of my life, just showing up really speaks to me. And I might not do anything in that moment, but I'm there. I'm giving up that time. And I know here's the kicker to this, right? I know I'm kind of beating around the bush. I feel like I've repeated myself a couple times, but it's about this. It's not about me. It's not all about me. Just showing up means I'm here for service. I'm here to sacrifice my time and my my own weird ways that I get in for something else or for somebody else. And maybe God doesn't give that to me in that moment. That's fine. But more importantly, it's just the fact of being there. So what does just showing up to you mean? Does that speak to you in any way? How can you show up a little bit better? How can you get out of your own mind, get out of your own head, get out of your own weird ways, like, the weird little uncomfortableness I have waiting in line to talk to somebody? Like, how does that apply to you? And how can you get better at that too? That's something that I think is cool that we can all ask ourselves. And man, that was such a huge turning point for me in the last couple of weeks, in really being conscious of the fact that it's real easy for me to make it all about me again, and so I'm really moving forward in working on that and kind of just being I keep wanting to say it's not vulnerable, but just being there, just that's what it is. Being available. I want to make myself available. Just being available for God, being available for my family, for my friends, for complete strangers, being available for God to work, plain and simple. One last thing I want to say, and then I'm going to wrap this thing up. It's been really cool to get back on. So I hope you're enjoying this. I know I'm enjoying it, and it's genuine, and I'm doing this because I love to do it in this episode right now. And that's what's important. And I'm going to continue to do that moving forward. If I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, I'm not going to do a podcast. I don't care if it's, if I don't have anything on a Friday to put out, then it's the way it is. It's not because I don't want, to be consistent and stay on top of stuff, but I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And I want God to be working through me with something. And I think if I stay open to that and I allow that in, just like I'm saying, by just showing up, the rest will fall into place. So here's the last thing. And then, and then we'll wrap this thing up today. One of the other things I'm working on is loving others where they're at. And that means not just loving other people where they're at, but also loving myself where I'm at. And what does that mean to me? So I can have a tendency, like I'm sure many of us, I know I'm not alone in this, of judging other people, of, seeing people that I think, and these could be people that I love. They could be friends of mine. I feel like it could be a stranger too, but that's more of like a superficial judgment, maybe just on, something I don't really know about. But more importantly, saying this person should be doing it this way, or I think that they could really fix this by doing this or doing that or whatever. And what does that do for me? It doesn't do anything for me except make me a dick, number one, because it's not my life. It's not my plan. I can't do God's work for them. And number two, what it does is it doesn't allow me to love them like I should. And that's all that I want to do is be there for the people that I love and love on them and be there for them. And this is something that I'm still learning on the daily. But the fact that I'm becoming a little bit more aware and in tune to it, I feel growth in it a little bit each day. And so what does that mean? What does that look like? Having, let's say, a family member who's really struggling out there right now. Maybe you have somebody, a friend, a family member, someone who's really struggling. Maybe they're going through it financially. Maybe they're going through it with drugs and alcohol. Maybe they're going through it. They just are mad at the world. Whatever the case is, maybe they're sick. Maybe they have, maybe they have a sickness that we're asking God to heal, and that it really is in God's hands, and there's nothing you can do about it other than pray about it, other than back to it, love them. You know what I'm saying? Love them. So that's kind of what I'm getting at is I'm really working on just loving people right where they're at. I don't care about all the other dumb stuff. God's going to work that out for you, or however that looks like in your reality or their reality. It's all irrelevant because I don't have a magic wand. I can't save people, but I can pray for them and I can love them and I can be there for them. And I can do that by showing them that love, like not trying to tell them what to do or try to ridicule them or tell them that you shouldn't be doing it like that. Like, what does that do for anybody? Like, nobody wants to be told what to do. I know I don't. But if someone suggests something and says, hey, the way I did it was this, I went through this way, I might be a little bit more in tune to listen to that. And then on top of that, if they're showing me love and telling me it's going to be okay and that, hey, things are going to work out and I'm praying for you. And, those are the types of things that I would want to hear. And so I'm really trying to do and it's hard sometimes. Sometimes we got some people that we care about that are in a jacked up spot and, you want to give them your 2 cents or whatever. And man, in my experience, it just has done nothing for them. And it's done nothing for me either because it just makes turmoil in me. And what does that mean? It means I'm trying to control things again. And I can't control anything. Things are out of my control. So I'm just going to love on them and move forward and show them as much love as I can, and still have very clear boundaries, very, very clear boundaries. But at the end of the day, that's what it's about to me, is showing that love. And on top of that, loving myself where I'm at, been through a lot of stuff and, there's plenty of other people that have been through way worse shit than I have been through. But that's kind of irrelevant when I'm talking about my own story, my own journey. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and there's been a lot of times when I haven't really loved myself very much. And that's a hard thing to do. Like, look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I love you. How weird is that? It's weird and awkward, right? But at the same time, it's very healthy. I feel like it's healthy, to be able to look myself like in my own eyes and just say, man, like, I love you. Like, you're doing a good job. Encouragement, and through the tough times too, saying, you know what, this time's tough right now, but you're going to get through this, you're going to get through this and it's okay. Give yourself some grace. That grace is huge. One last thing, Jess and I just bought a house. Woohoo! Just signed the damn paperwork. just want to say how stoked we are about that. It's our first house. And I don't say that. I say that very humbly. I don't say that bragging or anything. It's, we don't rent from a person. Now we just rent from a bank. That's kind of the way I look at it. But at the same time, we can do what we want to it. The kids are going to have a cool spot to grow up in and have a place to call home. And that is something that is something that has been important to me for the kids, and so really pumped on that. We've had a lot of help from all different friends, family, throughout this whole process. And who you are out there. I don't want to single anybody out, but we love you. And we're just really, really grateful. This whole process has been crazy. But so that's something. And here's the reason I mentioned that real quick. And like I said, I'm going to wrap this thing up. But if you're struggling out there right now and you think that maybe it's all gone to hell for you, and you're at a point where you just want to give up, I'm here to tell you that there's hope. Okay. 4 years ago, I was going into rehab. I was about to lose my job. I was about to lose my marriage. We were kicked out of our house. Finances were a mess. I was not doing very good as a father, not doing very good as a husband, making some really, really bad decisions. And in just a span of 4 years, a lot of things have turned around. Now, is my life perfect? Absolutely not. Got a lot of work to do still. But I just want to tell you that there's hope. Hang on for another day. Call somebody, reach out to somebody, join a group, email us if you're really struggling, sobriety@thatsoberguy.com. I'm always down to drop a few words of encouragement to anybody out there who needs it. And I just want to tell you guys that I love you and that I'm proud of everybody who has been a part of this community. It's such a cool thing, and I'm super blessed and super stoked about it. So I hope everybody has a phenomenal rest of the day, rest of your weekend. If you're listening to this on a Friday, if you're listening to it on a Monday, have a good week. You know what I'm saying? Peace, love, respect. Damn, I haven't said that in a while. That sounds crazy. Let me say it again. Peace, love, respect. Keep your blood clean, son. Actually, let me do this for cash too. Little farts on 3. 1, 2, 3. Little farts.